Hello and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Detention with me, the host. So, this week, bi-week? Sure, yeah, that. We have a super special guest, even more special than Mega Man Zero. Introduce yourself, guest, please.
I mean, there's no way that I am more special than Mega Man Zero because he does a lot of
Mega
other
Man
stuff.
Zero 88.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The Urban Maverick Hunter.
All right. I mean, I'm not urban or a maverick hunter, but I am a waifu hunter. I am Shotgun Shogun. I am a gacha game enthusiast, mobile game master, wondrous whale of the digital PNG waifu sphere. I mostly play Fate Grand Order, but I've recently been expanding my horizons, and now I play like 6 mobile games at a time, and it's brutal. I actually don't suggest it to anybody, and I don't know how people actually are able to do this, because when I first started people playing Fate Grand Order on YouTube, people would be like, oh yeah, no, I'm juggling like 5 or 6 mobile games, and I'm like, I don't no clue how you do that. No sleep, not much in the way of sleep. That's how they manage to do that.
So, but like, how do they maintain to throw all the money at the game if they don't work? That's my thing.
So there's a difference between throwing money at a game and being a multi-gacha game free to play, because there's 2 different types of persons. Well, there's multiple types of whales, and you can get into a whole list of different categories of whales when it comes to mobile game aficionados. But for the most part, there's the people who play multiple gacha games because they are free-to-play players. And then you have like the people who have a primary game that they whale on, like let's say it's Fate Grand Order, but they want to play multiple other games at the same time to kind of fill the void. Because, I mean, you know, if anybody who's listening has played a mobile game, they make it so that you can't really play it the entire day without paying for it. That's kind of one of their monetization methods. So once you're out of energy on one, you just go play another game. So yeah, so you've got the free to plays and you got the free to play by the ways, which if you're unfamiliar with that term, that means if you're free to play by the way, that's just you saying, yeah, no, I spend money on this game, but I want to say that I'm free to play so that people on Facebook groups will be really salty about the pulls that I just did.
No, that's fair. I've got 2 mobile games. I have Epic 7,
Okay.
but I don't play it. It's just there. Right now, I'm just mostly focused on Fire Emblem and Dragalia Lost.
So I've heard really good things about Dragalia Lost. A lot of people have asked me to play Dragalia Lost, but I only have so much time in the day to play games, and juggling 5 at the time, at the moment is already pretty ridiculous. So trying to add in Dragalia is pretty much like not an option for me at the moment. But one of the things, so I'm going to ask you then, with Fire Emblem, why don't you just play an actual Fire Emblem game?
I'm currently playing Three Houses. Like, it's building up time in my Switch right now.
Okay.
I have all the other 3DS Fire Emblem games on my 3DS. So
okay. But so why play a gacha game for Fire Emblem when you could just literally play the Fire Emblem games? See, I played Fire Emblem for a little bit, and then I was like, why would I ever spend money on this? Like, I can literally just play Fire Emblem if I wanted these characters. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I played a bit of Fire Emblem Heroes, and then I was just kind of like, this is gonna get a yikes for me, dog.
No, that's fair. So when they announced it, I was like, that's a mobile game. Fuck that. And I'm like, man, we ain't getting Fire Emblem Switch for like 2 years, so fuck it, I'm gonna need something. Because I don't carry my 3DS around with me everywhere I go, because fuck that, it's extra weight. So I was like, sure, why not? I'll try it. And then I'm like, it's Fire Emblem in my pocket until the Switch game comes out. So I might as well play it. Because most of the units are from games we don't have in America because fuck us, apparently.
Why don't you just learn Japanese, Cameron?
I tried doing that in college, and that didn't work well. That didn't go too well. I'm gonna be honest. No, fuck that. That's what John does. Listen, when I go to Japan with you, I'm just gonna. No, when I go to Japan with you, I'm just gonna, follow around in the back and just go. Yep,
I'm literally just gonna tell everybody like that that you're, like my dumb cousin or something like that, and then we're just gonna laugh at you in Japanese, and I'm gonna just give you a bunch of thumbs ups. So just be prepared. I don't fucking care. Yeah.
Listen, I don't fucking care. You know I don't fucking care. I'm there for the food.
It's pretty good.
The copious amount of figures I'm gonna buy, and unlike Steven, I'm not gonna creep on women.
Cameron, you don't have the money for a bunch of figures.
Listen, they're cheap over there.
Yeah.
You and Donnell told me that.
Yeah, no, I know.
Donnell would never lie.
Right, but I mean, my cheap is different than your cheap.
Listen, I've got until winter of next year, so I'm good. I'll save some money.
Okay.
How much is the trip again?
I mean, it's about 1,000 just to get over there.
That's not bad.
And then it's going to be probably around... I mean, all in all, you're looking at about like 1,800 just for the trip. And that's not including like stuff that you're going to buy. So
I could do that.
Yeah.
But, I should be able to do that by next winter.
Yeah,
listen, just keep hiring me for shows.
Yeah. But yeah, back to mobile games. No, so like definitely. So Dragalia Lost has gotten a lot of really good press reviews, stuff like that, because it is Dragalia Lost, I believe, is handled by Cygames, I think.
It is.
And they're doing so well. They are very well known for being fairly generous. They also do Grand Blue, which is yet another game that people want me to play, and I'm like,
don't do Grand Blue.
No, I've heard that like you literally have to start grinding now for things that you want like a year in the future, and I'm just like,
no
I'm like, bro, no. that is too much pre-planning. Like, I like to grind, don't get me wrong. I'm literally, as we're doing this podcast, I'm grinding 4 mobile games in the background.
I know, I can hear you clicking.
Yeah. And so, like, I like to game, I like to grind, but, like, pre-planning, like, a year ahead is pretty cray-cray in my book. So, yeah. But, Dragalia Lost, when it first came out, there was a lot of hype around it, and then it just kind of died off real quick. It does seem like it's one of those games that like has like a base of players, but I don't really see Dragalia Lost doing a lot of advertisement. Like, that's one of the big things that there's not a ton of PR. I don't see it like thrown in my face. There's games like AFK Arena, Teppen. God,
I need to start playing Teppen.
Dude, so literally never heard of Teppen before until...
That's fine. It literally came out?
No, hold on. Yeah, let me finish my story. So we went to AX, right? And had never heard of this game before, ever. Never saw an advertisement for it. Nobody had ever told me about it. I walked past the Teppen booth where they had it, and at first I thought it was a fighting game because half of their booth was literally like a fighting game area, which had like just huge ripped dudes dressed up as like Ryu and like Ken, and all, and like people were like doing fighting games. And then like I walk around to like the other side later in the weekend, and like up on this big screen, like they had all these cosplayers and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna stand here and wait for camera guy Ryan, and I'm gonna see what's going on over here and watch these people do some fighting games. And then I'm like, wait a second, I'm like, are they playing like a card game with like fighting game characters? I'm like, yo, I'm like, is this a motherfucking mobile game? And then so of course my curiosity was piqued and stuff like that. And I tried to get them to let me just like straight up go into the booth and talk about it, because I was live streaming. They were live streaming cosplayers playing the game, and I'm like, bro, let me get in here and play this game. That happens whenever I clap my hands when I'm telling a story, because they think that something happened outside. My dogs are phenomenal and amazing, but I'm like, dude, you guys got to let me in here. I want to talk about this. I'm big into mobile games. I got a pretty decent sized platform and stuff like that. And they were basically like, yeah, you're not a cute cosplay girl. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then literally as soon as that happened, like I open up Facebook and boom, what do I see? Advertisements for Teppen, and I have not stopped getting advertisements for Teppen because I talked to them. That is my story about that. I still haven't played it because I don't have any time, but and I don't want to get into a card game, an online card game. I already tried that with like Magic the Gathering for a little bit, and I think I played like some other. I played Hearthstone, but I played that when I was on PC.
Yeah. Back in those days.
Yeah, but I played Magic a long time ago, and I don't do good with monetary control for card games. I'm already bad enough when it comes to mobile games. Adding in any sort of card game would probably be just probably way worse. So yeah,
that's it's really funny because all my friends had never heard of Teppen. They're like, "Fuck is that?" I was watching a fighting game, dude. He's like, so yeah, I've been playing Teppen today. And we're like, what? Like, yeah, the Capcom guys were like, Max, play this game because Street Fighter and Monster Hunter, you like those. And I'm like, oh no.
Dude.
Not like this. I was like, Max is going to be converted. And I'm like, oh, no, wait. This is just because he loves Capcom. And Capcom's like, hey, play the game for us.
Hey, play the game.
I'm like, well. Yeah,
we'll pay you to play this game.
I mean, they did. And he was like, I like the art. I'm not super big card guy, but the art's nice. If you like nice art, play the game. And I'm like, all right, Max, okay, whatever you say.
I mean, when Epic 7 had their Guilty Gear collab, I remember going through Twitter, and like you had these people that were like hardcore Guilty Gear players, literally like tweeting out about how badass Epic 7 was and how they got their girl Dizzy or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, this is tight. As a matter of fact, like one of the things that I say a lot about Epic 7's longevity is actually collabing with fighting games, because like if there's anybody in this world that is like bigger on competition and like hype, it's fighting game players. And
we are.
The thing is that's going to build hype for your game. You're going to have those people get hype. If there's even a semi-competitiveness in your game, those people are going to latch onto it, and they're going to do whatever they have to be literally the best at that game so that they can style on people on the internet. Because, if you're not flexing, what are you even doing with your life right now? And I think that, in the long run, if Epic 7 can kind of corner that market, collab with Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, Tekken, all of those things, and kind of like work in, all of those characters into their game and, capitalize on that competitiveness, that would be just a huge, huge thing for them and the game as a whole. Now, do I think that they have really thought that far ahead? I doubt it.
Probably not.
But, it would be nice. There's a lot of times that a lot of mobile games just like, nah, man, that would be amazing if you did X, Y, or Z. And they're like, we're not going to do any of that stuff. And I'm like, do you guys not like money? I don't understand this decision process that you have going on right here. But, you do you, boo, and just keep on giving me digital PNGs to roll for.
Also, thank you for calling them PNGs. I hate when people go, no, it's just a JPEG. I'm like, but
it's not a JPEG. Yeah, JPEGs don't have a transparent background.
They do not.
Yeah.
You can make it, but it's not. It's still just lower quality. I'm just like, please go away.
Yeah.
Just go away.
Yeah, just
Like-
leave. Be gone, thought.
I was combing through some Epic 7 stuff earlier, and I'm like, everything here is animated.
Yeah.
I wonder how they're doing that. That must cost a decent chunk of change. And I'm like,
I mean, it's not like they're not
it can't be that
making
much.
a decent chunk of change, though.
I don't want to know how much Epic 7 makes. Like, it's a little upsetting that mobile games make a fuck ton more than, like, traditional games, but at the same time, I guess that's just where we're headed.
I mean, no, it's 100%
real
where we're
it.
headed. The thing is, though, is there is a lot more. I don't want to say there's a lot more play in mobile games. They definitely give you more playtime overall than a traditional game would, because they're continuously updated. Now, I do wish that they were a little bit more like let's say MMOs, where you do just pay like a standard subscription fee and you have access to everything without having to continuously roll for all of the waifus that you want. Because it does get pretty excessive sometimes, and there are some games that are very, very predatory, and they definitely play on people's gambling addictions and things along those lines. But that leads into, like, the whole loot box ban bill that is mostly targeting traditional platforms, EA and all of those people, but it's gonna potentially spill over into impacting mobile gaming as well, which is what a lot of the people, a lot of the circles that I traverse are very, very worried about, because it's a lot of people that don't know anything about it getting into it and making decisions on things that they don't really understand, because they heard a story one time about some kid that stole their mom's credit card and bought like 10 grand worth of V-Bucks. And now they're like, oh, think of the children. And it's like, bro, show me that happens more than like once in a blue moon, and I'll kind of maybe agree with you. But at the same time, maybe you should actually parent your children. Like, you can't really fault the game if your kid steals your credit card and gets 10 grand worth of V-Bucks. Maybe you shouldn't have let your kid steal your credit card. No,
you're 100% correct.
But
my biggest thing with these,
go ahead.
My biggest thing with these types of stories is it's so rarely a kid. It's more an 18-year-old or a 20-something-year-old. I'm like, you knew what this was when you booted up the game.
Oh no, 100%.
And you read everything. You knew what it was.
I have zero sympathy for people because of that, because you literally know what the odds are. At no point do they hide that. Now, on things like usually like a lot of the platforms, and they just passed something in the past couple of days where like Nintendo, Microsoft, EA, Sony have to present the odds of you getting whatever it is out of that loot box. So if you buy that loot box and you know ahead of time that there's only like a 1% chance of you getting that thing, and you don't get that thing and you're mad, that sucks to suck, dude. You knew what you were signing up for. Like, that is the bare minimum that they can do to go, hey, dude, so this is a thing. Just saying, So it's, so I really don't have any sympathy for people that know what they're getting into and then do it anyways.
Yeah. Like,
so, that'd be like going to Vegas, knowing that you're sitting down at a slot machine and then getting mad because you didn't win the jackpot. Like, bro, you know what those odds are and you didn't get it. So, maybe be better in the future,
Sure.
Like
Uh,
one of the big things too with that is you'll have people that are like, oh well, the game is using predatory methods to get people to roll gacha. They're using methods that make you want to spend, and it's like, okay, well that's cool, but at the same time, ain't nobody holding a gun to your head. Ain't nobody say that, hey, I'm gonna kill your family if you don't practice Spanish. That's Duolingo. No one's
I
like,
didn't know
hey,
you were gonna go there.
if you don't roll your PNG waifu, you're gonna be excommunicated by all of your friends. Like no one's there doing that. Like you press that button, you put your money in there. There is one thing that like some games have done where you can set a limit, and after you hit that limit, it just doesn't let you buy anymore. Which I mean
Really?
is good, but at the same time, like if I set that limit, I would just be like, no, I'm gonna spend more money. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad. Like I'm just gonna go turn that fucking limit off. And if they're like, well, you can't turn that limit off, I'll be like, man, are you fucking kidding me? Like I set this. Like I will turn this off. Don't make me come fight you. Um, so there are ways to do that, but at the same time, like you if you just can't um handle it, then I mean that's a you problem, not a game problem. It'd be like going to get a $20,000 car and maybe the car doesn't have an engine in it. But if they say that up front, is what it is. Companies want to make money, and marketing as a whole has always been predatory, regardless of like what company it is. So whenever people start using the whole like predatory methods, it always kind of gets on my nerves because I'm like, well, yeah, it's the you're going after the weak people, which I mean, isn't the best thing in the world, but at the same time, you know, a company's got to eat,
Sure.
I guess. Yeah.
Um, what mobile games are you looking forward to?
I was looking forward to Sino Alice, but that's going to probably be delayed indefinitely because Nexon doesn't know how to put out a game on time. Pokemon Masters is going to be interesting, although I've heard.
Don't do it.
No, I've
don't do
heard
it.
that like you
don't do
literally
it.
just like play it for like a week, you max everything out, and then you put the game down because there's nothing else to do.
I was reading an article. Yes, that's what you call articles, and they were like, so yeah, that's one option, but there is like a thing you can do just to grind out the stuff you need for other stuff. It won't get you pulls, but it'll get you resources. And I'm like, that's dangerous because the article was specifically like, if you don't really have a life, this is a good game for you. If you don't have anything going on, go for it. And I'm like, I have a full-time job, 2 editing jobs. It's like, yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll skip this one and just wait out the next 3 months to get Pokemon Sword and Shield, because that's what I'm really looking forward to. Because this will just be a stopgap between that, and I'm like, I can go play Yellow and Gold because I traded in Sun and Moon because fuck those games.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the thing is though, is like this game isn't necessarily for like what am I trying to say here? It's not really for the people that
Play
don't
Pokemon
have
already?
like so. I mean, you're gonna have your gamers that are gonna be like, "Oh snap! Well, I'm gonna play this," and a lot of people are gonna no life it like 100%, and
Yeah.
that's just how mobile games are. As a matter of fact, like I personally think that a mobile game that allows you to no life the game is actually better, like longevity wise, because you're going to get more invested in that game. The more you can play a game, the more that you're invested in it, and the first time you spend money, you fall into the sunk cost fallacy, where you're like, oh well, I've already put $20 in the game, I can't quit now. It would be like me trying to quit Fate Grand Order, where I've put like a person's salary yearly salary into the game. And
Yeah, let's not talk about that. We've already had talks about that.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so it would be kind of like that, where it's like, oh yeah, no, I've literally dropped this much money. Well, I can't stop now, because then all that money would have gone to waste. And so the more that you can play a game, the more you're going to play a game, and the more that you're going to justify investing into that game, and then the more that you're going to justify, spending in the future, because you've already spent X dollars. So being able to know life a game makes it good for both the free to play and the pay to play, because your pay to plays are going to be able to move a lot faster through the game, and then they're going to be able to flex on all of the people who didn't pay to play. But your free to plays will still eventually be able to get what they were looking for. It's just going to take a lot longer. So yeah, I mean, like, I've looked into it a little bit. I've had people, on my website doing articles on it, and I've talked to a couple people that have played it, because I guess it was available in Canada, and
Yep.
if you could actually play it now, if you had like a VPN that you could get,
I'm not going through all
yeah,
that.
no,
I don't
same.
care that much.
Yeah, same. And so you had that option, but a couple of the people that I was talking to said that basically, if you could max out, if you just no lifed it, you could max everything out in like a week, and then you just put the game down, and you're just kind of like, okay, I guess. So,
well, you mean until an update happens and they add more stuff?
right. Well, no, yeah, I mean, until an update happens, and then they add more stuff, and then you're like, oh hell yeah, and then you just play, and then you max everything out, and then you put the game down and you go play something else. So yeah, that's pretty much that one. But I mean, in terms of like what's coming up that's got me hype, there's like Tales of Crestia. That looks pretty interesting. For the most part,
Is that in the Tales of universe?
Yeah, it's a Tales of, yeah. I actually saw it at Anime Expo when I was out there, so it looked pretty cool. We'll see how it is. It's gonna be a mobile game. I didn't get a whole lot of information on it. There was like a little bit of a demo there, and stuff like that, but they obviously couldn't show you too much. But it looked pretty cool. The artwork was interesting. Overall, it looked like a pretty decent game. So we'll see. Obviously, I'll probably be covering that when it comes out. So,
do you play any non-gacha games? I have no idea.
I haven't really played anything in quite a while. I was actually just like thinking about that the other night, when I was like, man, I really haven't played like anything non-gacha in like a while. There was like one or two times that I played like just a random like game on my Twitch or something like that, like Monster Prom. But really, like, outside of that, dude, like, I have not played anything in a hot minute. And it's weird because, like, before my channel, like, I played a bunch of games. I played Ark, I played, like, all kinds of stuff. In between playing mobile games as well. And then, like, I started up my channel, and then it was like, well, I'm making content for Fate Grand Order, so I need to play more Fate Grand Order. And then it became okay, well, I'm going to play this game, and I'm going to play this other game that people are talking about and want me to cover. And then it became, okay, I'm going to play this game, and I'm going to make content for this other game that's coming up. And then it was like, okay, cool, I'm going to do first impressions because people like those. So I'm going to like look into a bunch of different gacha games And so now I play like 5 gacha games because a lot of times I'll do a first impression Friday, and then I'm like, actually, this game is kind of fun. That happened with Grand Summoners. Like I started like a first impression because it was like, oh, Goblin Slayer collab, and I'm like, oh, I really like Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer's pretty cool. I'm gonna play this game real quick, and then I'm like, oh, I've already spent like $200 on this. And I'm
no.
And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna play this for a while. And then I played it for like a month, and then I just was like, okay, I'm moving on to the next game. So yeah, so I to answer your question, no, man, I really haven't been playing like anything outside of mobile games for a hot minute.
That's fair. Like, you told me earlier when we saw each other at the last convention, which I am blanking on.
Oh, Bonsai
Doesn't
Con.
matter. Yeah, that one.
Yep.
You're just not super into console games anymore, which is totally fine.
Well, I mean, like, I
can't
haven't
take a console
really
anywhere,
been into console games in a super long time. I've always mostly been like a PC gamer, but at the same time, like, oh, I mean, I was into mobile platform. Like, I always had like whatever the newest DS, 3DS. I always kept
you had that one game.
Coldicep.
Fuck, what was yeah.
Coldicep was super good. And I figured it was Coldicep because if it was any mainstream game, you would have been like, oh yeah, that mainstream game. But like almost nobody knew what Coldicep was.
It's on sale for like $20 right now.
No,
like, I might get
it's
this.
super cool. It's like Magic the Gathering meets Monopoly. And
That's
so
a terrifying combination.
Yeah, no, it really is. No, so like whenever I've always really been a big fan of like if I wasn't playing PC, I wanted it to be mobile. I wanted to have the ability to, take it on an airplane with me, take it, whenever I'm going to a con or something along those lines. Like that's the only platform, like literally I think the last actual platform that I had was maybe PlayStation 2. Like I switched to PCs like a long time ago, and like I never looked back because pretty much everything that I could get on a console I could either get on a PC or eventually get on a PC, or I was like, I don't really care about this game, because there for a long time I was like a big MMO player, so yeah, I pretty much had to play those on PC. So that was my big thing. But like I've got a Steam library that's just literally sitting there that I haven't touched in forever. Realistically, the last game that I even played on PC was probably Ark. Like that was probably the last time that I played any sort of PC game.
So like 2-3 years ago,
like around the beginning of my channel really taking off. Like that was probably it, man.
Yeah, it's probably around the time I quit, quote unquote, League.
Yeah,
I just can't.
Well, yeah, I mean, League is League. That's
I've played it long enough. Listen, I only play when my friends are like, we're bored. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fun, but oh god, the community.
Yeah, no, I mean I played League for a really long time. I have like every Teemo skin, every Mundo skin. I dropped a bunch of money on skins for that game too. Like as soon as they put out a Teemo skin, I'm just like, mine, done, easy peasy.
Fair. But like that's where the sunk cost fallacy doesn't really make sense to me, because I've put maybe $70 in the League since season 3, and I'm just like, I
mean, I guess like
that's like a full price game.
Yeah, $70 isn't really. I mean, I guess it depends on where you're standing from, because like I mean, yeah, I put $200 into. Actually, I probably put more than that into Grand Summoners, and then I can just quit because I'm like, oh okay. But like once you get past a certain threshold, it's like I could probably not. There's no way I could quit Epic 7 or Fate Grand Order right now. Like I quit Azure Lane, and I put a decent amount of money into Azure Lane, but
well, isn't it a little different because that kind of fucks you over?
Well, I mean, yeah, a little bit, but I mean, I still enjoyed the community, but the game just got really boring. Like that's one of the big
That's
things too. Is
the
like, um,
Boat Girls.
what's that? Yeah, that was Boat Girls.
That one's Boat
Yeah,
Girls.
that
Yeah,
was
I
yeah,
remember
that
that
was
one.
Boat Girls. But there was literally nothing to do at the end of the game. Like you just there wasn't anything like new ships and stuff like that didn't give you anything new or fancy or anything like that. It was just like, oh, here's a new ship, and I'm like, okay, cool, what does it do? Well, nothing really special. And I'm like, okay, but so then, I mean, what do I do with it? And they're like, well, here's like 50 new skins for this that are really cute. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. They are pretty cute, but at the same time, like, this doesn't bring anything new to my gameplay. At least like within Fate Grand Order, with Epic 7, things like that, I get like at least a new visual. There's like a new ultimate move. There's something new and fresh. Whereas in like Azure Lane, there was just more skins, more skins for you to spend money on.
Yeah, I have
And
League for that, and
yeah,
I'm good on that.
yeah. So it kind of burnt me out too, because like they took the you need to keep people engaged, and they took it just way too far. Because like they're like, whenever I play an event, I want to completely buy out the shop. Whatever's in the shop, I want to be able to clear the shop. I want to clear the event, the entirety of the event, like 100%. I need to be able to clear the entire event. So for me to not be able to manage that, because like the amount of time that you had to put into farming the game, and the fact that they dropped like two events like at the same time, so like in order to actually complete both of them, you had to be in like non-human. Like you basically had to use a bot. Like I doubt there's any way that a
Yeah,
lot of people that completed that in a reasonable amount of time didn't use a bot. Like there's no way. Like I don't think that there's a way that they did it. Now some people out there may have no lifed it, but I don't think that they did. But with that said, I mean, you do have people that that are able to do that stuff. And I mean, there's some people that were able to take the game like semi casually and finish it without too much. They're having a good time, and that's super cool. That's great for them. But like for me, I was I just got like excessively burnt out like really quick on the game. So it kind of sucked. But it is what it is really with that. And so yeah, I hung up my hat on that game. I still log in every once in a while and roll whatever the new ships are, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, I got that thing, look at this thing, that's neat.
oh boy.
And then I promptly log out and go back to doing something in one of the other like 18 games that I'm playing.
So that's a lot. Oh god, that's so
I mean, I
much.
don't actually play 18 games. I mean,
I know. I'm just
yeah,
saying, you play like 5 or 6, which is still a lot.
yeah.
Like I can't even juggle 5 or 6 console
Because
games at
yeah, like
once.
literally right now, I'm playing Epic 7, Fate Grand Order, Astral Chronicles, and AFK Arena.
So another question I have. I guess it's just an interview now. Listen, I gotta make content somehow.
Hey, I mean, that's kind of what podcasts are sometimes. I mean, that's how my
little bit,
podcasts
yeah.
go.
Are there any Japan only gacha games you would want to try?
Oh,
or
I mean, there's
do you
tons
just
of
go
JP,
fuck it? I'm just gonna.
the JP games that I want localized, like the Overlord gacha game. There's a My Hero Academia gacha game in JP that I would like to see localized. There's a Seven Deadly Sins. Obviously, Sinoalis is still only JP because we didn't get the localization over here. So yeah, like realistically, like Asia is where gacha games start,
Thrive.
and then they get localized over here. So a lot of times you can take a look at like what's happening in like the JP market when it comes to gacha games and go, okay, cool, this is what I have to look forward to. You know, eventually My Hero Academia will get localized. One Punch Man will get localized. You know, Seven Deadly Sins will get localized. So it starts in Japan or China. There's a good amount of games that come from China over to North America. Korea has been globalizing a lot more of their games as well, which is both good and bad because Koreans, when you get a globalized version of their game, the Korean gamer base is typically very like angry if they are not kowtowed to. So like if
but why?
Because they're where the game started. So like there was an issue with Epic 7 because Epic 7 started in Korea. So Korea had it first. And when they went global, the global market really was kind of like, yeah, okay, I mean, everything seems pretty all right in this game. We're perfectly fine with the vast majority of things that you have in this game. Well, Korea was not happy with the fact that North America global got some things like ahead of time that they had to wait for. So like we got a certain character that we got a pity banner on, which is like a rate up banner, that they didn't get the pity banner on. So they were really upset about that. They wanted to like just legitimately like block us. They thought that we shouldn't even get that pity banner because, well, they didn't get that pity banner. And so a lot of people were just kind of like, what? Like, why are you being like this? And so they were very adamant about being like the only ones that really mattered. So they threw huge fits over a bunch of stuff, which was really stupid. There were like a lot of their complaints. I was like, have you guys just never played a gacha game before? Like, have you never done anything? Like, you know, they were complaining about, you know, just like standard rates in the game. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, but they literally tell you what the rates are. They're like, bruh, but it's not fair. And I'm like, but it is though, because they literally tell you what the rates are. Like, no one's holding this gun to your head to do this. And they're like, well, if I don't have these characters, I can't be number one. And I'm like, okay, but if you don't pay for the game, then why would you ever think that you deserved to be number one? And there's like, well, I should be able to do all this stuff for free, and we're Korean. This is where the game started. So it was a lot of like really just dumb arguments from a bunch of people that feel that just because the game started there that they needed to be like catered to and kowtowed to.
That sucks.
Yeah. So it's interesting when a game goes global because like there was the same issue with Fate Grand Order where like the JP market will get upset if North America gets anything that they feel they didn't get as well. So like if we were to get like extra free quartz or something like that, they would be upset because they'd be like, well, we never got that. 2 years ago when the game was at that state, we didn't get that thing. So then they'll get upset, and because the game makes like 92% of their revenue from Japan, like of course they're going to be like, oh yeah, no, absolutely, like whatever you say we'll do. But for Epic 7, Korea only makes up 15% of their overall profits. So them basically bending over and taking it from the Korean players was like such a weird move to me, because it's like, why would you cater to 15% of your market when the other like 85% of your market isn't upset at all? Like that doesn't really make much sense to me.
I can't speak on Korean business practices because I didn't learn about Korean business practices, but I did learn about Japanese business practices, and they'll always do the most safe thing.
Well, the thing too is like
strange.
Yeah, well, Japanese business people, they actually don't give like two shits about like anybody besides Japanese people. So,
well, yeah,
you know,
that's a whole other conversation,
right?
But like, I know within a month, the Pokemon Masters game is going to make $1 billion, no questions. Because it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
Two, other mobile games are kind of, they're not falling by the wayside, but people are just like, I want to see what this new thing is about.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like mobile games, they'll make the vast majority of their money like right when it comes out, because yeah, like you said, you know, people are going to be like, oh, what is this? What is this new game that came out? I want to see what this does, you know, and so you know, yeah, you'll get a good chunk of your money directly from the very beginning of the game, and you know, then you have to just worry about like player retention.
Yeah, which I feel Pokemon will be fine. Epic 7 will be fine because that game just looks gorgeous. Can't really speak too much on the gameplay because I haven't really seen the game played too much. And Fate Go is just like, I feel like they could do whatever and they'll be fine because I feel like that game is not super lore heavy, but that game has a decent amount of Fate lore.
It's super lore heavy. Like literally the story is one of the only reasons why you play the game, because the gameplay itself is not that good. It's really not. So like with Fate, you play for the story and stay for the waifu PNG collection. There's no online, nothing, so there's not really much in the way of flexing. People can't get really all that mad because there's no real competitiveness. Now, if you want to go and take your stance and be like, well, I need to be better than this person, then that's on you. But like realistically, like there's no competitive aspect to the game, so it's just going to really come down to just people enjoying the story and enjoying the franchise. The thing too is that Fate is like a super, super huge name, so they have the name recognition behind them, and they have a lot of history into the game. There's a lot of time invested there because the game's already been out for 2 years in Japan, so you've got a lot of people that are over in North America that are like, oh snap, I know this game is awesome, everybody else has said that this game is awesome, I need to play this game. And so you'll have a lot of friends getting friends into the game, and it's one of those games too that's like you can play it free to play, but you can also spend way too much money on it. That's like really just how it goes. So they definitely make a lot of money, and I actually think they're moving. The fact that they brought it to North America wasn't so much to make money from the gacha game, but it was the copious amounts of figures and merchandise that they've started pushing over here. So that was just kind of the flagship to bring, all of this merch into the North American market.
I feel like you're to blame for that. I don't know anyone other than you and Donnell that own a lot of Fate stuff. Fuck Steven right now.
I mean, do you know a lot of big Fate fans? I mean, that's probably, big Fate fans that actually have the money to buy that stuff.
That's the thing. I know people around the area we live that enjoy Fate, but they don't have money for figures because they're poor college kids.
Right.
And Steven.
Yeah.
But fuck Steven. It's just like,
but I mean,
man, I want to
see how much Fate stuff that we sell at conventions. So
yeah,
it's
literally half the booth.
Yes, and we sell a ton of it.
We really, oh my god,
yeah,
Bonsai Con, we sold so
much.
Dude,
it's quite a bit of stuff that we sell. So the thing is like, think about it this way, like you don't know a whole lot of people personally that buy a ton of Fate stuff, but I mean, every convention that we go to, we sell a good chunk of Fate stuff. So it's definitely something that is something that people are buying. People are spending copious amounts of money on. I mean, we had the quarter scale saber that was $425, and we sold that.
I sold that.
Yeah. So it's like there's the market for Fate figures and merchandise is huge, because that's the other thing too, is like if you're playing a mobile game and you're already invested in it monetarily, chances are you're also going to buy merchandise for it. So like if they came out, I mean, I'm not even really that invested in Azure Lane anymore, but there's figures that they're bringing out that I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I absolutely love that ship. That ship girl is super hot. I need that figure in my life. So, I mean, if you think about it, like if I'm playing Fate Grand Order, I'm really big in the Fate franchise. Maybe I wasn't before, but maybe a friend of mine played Fate Grand Order, got me into it. Now I've already watched the animes and I'm getting more and more into the game, more and more into the franchise. Now I'm like, oh, well, I love this character in game. I'm going to buy this figure of them because, they're super, super awesome. And maybe I rolled for them. I got them. I really like them, so I want a figure of them. Maybe I wanted them. I rolled for it. I didn't get it, but at least I can have a figure even though I don't have it in the game, it's actually sad because most of the times it's actually cheaper to just buy a figure of your waifu than it is to roll for them in game. Most of the time it's actually drastically cheaper to just buy a figure than it is to actually roll for them. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
What franchise do you want to have a mobile game?
What franchise would I like to have a mobile game? Berserk. I don't know how they would do it, but Berserk would be super, super tight.
I don't think they'd be able to do a gacha style mobile game, but like a regular mobile game would be great.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think in my head of how they would even be able to do that, and I couldn't come up with anything because there's not really a good way of gacha on that. Maybe like Goblin Slayer would be a tight one.
I can see that.
But that would just be a super easy one because it would just literally be you, first person, just killing goblins. And then there would be big goblins, and then there'd be some small goblins. But there'd be a lot of small goblins, and then you'd have to kill an even bigger goblin than the previous big goblin.
I still gotta watch that show.
Yeah. You gotta watch that, and you gotta watch the abridged, because Goblin Slayer abridged is hilarious. Like, there's sometimes some abridged versions are good, some of them are cringy because they try too hard to be funny. Goblin Slayer abridged is probably one of my favorite things on YouTube right now.
Yeah, because camera guy Ryan showed me that on the drive to Bonza. I'm just like, all right, well, here we go.
Oh, man, it's so good. So good.
Like, I just kind of stared at him for like a solid 10 minutes and like, this is better than I thought.
Yeah.
Then again, my last abridge was Team 4-Star and Dragon Ball. And
the thing is, though, is like, you don't even know, like, you haven't watched all of Goblin Slayer, right? Like, or any of?
Yep, I'm just like, man, I don't know who any of these people are, but okay.
Yeah, no, you're going to watch it, and then you're going to be like, oh my god, why is he not the character from the abridged version? Like, the abridged version, Goblin Slayer is so much better than regular Goblin Slayer. Regular Goblin Slayer is pretty good, but, like, the abridged version is everything I wanted him to be.
Well, listen, I was under the impression I had tomorrow off, and they're like, hey, come in 2 to 10. I'm like, no. And they're like, you're going to be here. I'm like, yeah, you're right, my bad.
Yeah, you're right. I need that money.
I really do.
Yeah.
Why do you think it takes so long for games? Well, I know why it takes so long. I want games to come out in English, but that's such a daunting process because the localization process is not short. I don't understand why they don't take a chunk of the game, like the basic beginning chunk, translate it out, and then just ship it out and go, hey, just deal with it for a month or two. We'll finish the rest. We'll piece it out slowly, one at a time. Just do that. Like, that makes so much sense in my head, and I think about it logistically. I'm like, that's costing them so much money. They're not going to do it because it costs too much money.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think to ship it out and then patch it, you'd have people that would burn through it too quick, and then they would be like, I'm upset that I don't have the next part.
Yeah,
I mean,
because patches are expensive.
Take like mobile gaming in general. Like, if you want to localize it, I mean, those teams are, pretty pretty under the gun to get a lot of that stuff done. Now, the games that have parity between regions, I actually think that they probably have it a bit easier, because at the same time that they are making it in Japanese, Chinese, whatever, they literally probably have somebody that's just writing that in English as well.
Yeah.
While I feel like Korean and Chinese games are a bit better at it, at the faster turnaround, because most Korean and Chinese games that I play, they catch up and do have parity between all of the servers like no time. Like Epic 7 came out, and I think like 6 or 7 months later was when the North American version came out, and then it was just like, okay, cool deal. We're caught up. You're getting the stuff at the same time as every other server. And so now they probably just have a team where the people who work on the voice and the lines for in the game for Korean have the same timeline as the people who work on the stuff in English. So they're getting it right now, and everything's pushed out at the same time. So, it's not like, I feel like the Japanese games that get brought over and localized have a lot more like stringent like handling. Like they would have to write everything, script it out, send it to JP for approval. It comes back with any changes. They make those changes, send it back to get approval, and then they can start on it. So it's probably a lot more of an extended period when it comes to like dealing with Japanese games versus like China and Korea, because they'll put out games with like super bad localizations where it's just like the English is like, you're like, what are you even trying to say right here? And then they're like, oh yeah, my bad, we'll patch that like next week. Just deal with it for the moment. And you're like,
yeah, but no one wants to deal with it.
You're like, yeah, okay, dude, whatever. Like, I didn't even read your story. Like, most people are just hitting the skip button because they just want to get to level in their PNG waifus. So like, yeah, China and Korea, I feel like they have a lot faster of a turnaround when it comes to like localizing their games.
Yeah. Also, I feel like their languages are a little bit closer together than they are to English, so translating it's not as daunting as it is in English, but I'd still like, there's a lot of games I want to play, just can't, they're not in English, and I'm like, I'm not taking the time to learn Japanese.
Well, yeah, and the other thing too is like, some people will be like, oh, well, there's already translations online. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to sit there with like a whole, like a thing in one hand and a thing in the, like my phone in the other, trying to figure out what is actually going on in here. I mean, I feel like even if I knew like beginner's Japanese, I still probably wouldn't know what's going on in the game, because it's going to go by real fast and it's going to be like high level stuff. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I don't know what they're trying to say here. Like, yeah.
But I feel like a counter to that is you can just skip out the story, and so long as you know what buttons to push, you'll be all right. But
you still gotta
kind of want to know a little story.
The buttons. And like, the other thing too is like, let's say there's like some quests or something like that, and it requires you to do a very specific thing. Like, you can slam your head against like a quest. Like, let's say the quest is that you actually just need to let the enemy win, and that's how you win. But if you beat it, it resets it. Like, literally in Astral Chronicles, that was a thing. Like, I'm just doing this quest, and I'm like slamming through the dialogue, and then I would just beat the guy, and then it would like set me back to like the beginning of the quest, and I'm like, why is this happening? And then I took a minute to read it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I just gotta fail this quest, and then I win the quest. I'm like, oh, okay, that was good. Maybe I should read before I do this next time. So yeah, if it's in Japanese, then you literally have to wait for like Reddit or Facebook to tell you what it is that you're even supposed to do, So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will not take up any more of your precious grinding time. Thank you for being on my dinky little show.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Yeah, I had a good time ranting about a bunch of different stuff. So cool, Cameron.
No, it's cool. What's
All
up?
right. I don't know. How do you do your outro?
Where can people find
Where
you?
can people
But
find
that's
me?
a little redundant because
Okay.
everyone who watches this is probably gonna be from your channel. So I was
I mean, Shotgun Shogun over
still...
on YouTube. You can find me at _Shotgun Shogun on Twitter. You can find me at Shotgun Shogun on OkCupid, Dayton Asia, MySpace, Grindr, Mixer, the Real Shotgun Shogun at Twitch. You can find me on Plenty of Fish, Shotgun Shogun. You can find me on Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn. Instagram. I don't think there's any other socials.
Do you really?
No, I don't have any of those actually. No, I do have an Instagram that I've posted like 4 times on. Because
fair. I don't
know what to even post on there besides like food. Because I'm not a cosplay girl, so
do screenshots. Do when you get a pool, post it on Twitter and Instagram. Boom.
Yeah.
Done.
No, I'm good.
No, that's fair. Hey, man, I'm just trying to get you options.
Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Shotgun Shogun. I'm also on Twitch, The Real Shotgun Shogun. Stream like 3 to 5 days a week. Put up a bunch of videos. You can also go and check out mobilegamingnews.com, your one-stop shop for all your mobile gaming news, reviews, and information that you can use. #sponsored content.
I fucking wish it was sponsored.
Yeah, no, I sponsor myself. I give myself $20 every time that I do that because people in my comment section think that it's actual sponsored content, and I'm like, yes, I sponsored myself. That is what I did. I definitely sponsored myself. But anyways, Cam, thanks for having me on, dude, and
no problem.
Maybe we'll do this again in the future. I'm always down to
when I learn how to play some gacha games.
So, all right, cool deal, dude. Talk to you later.
All right, peace.